it's done me. Hello. Welcome back to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. I'm Tony. And with me this week is Ben. You there, mate? All good?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. And a guest. We always love having Matt on. Matt?
Thanks, Tony. Great to be back. Always love coming on.
Good to have you, mate. Right, game week 21 so far. Right in the middle of it. Obviously with the FA Cup games this weekend, and then jumping onto the Premier League games midweek. So plenty of chance to score plenty of points. Matt, we've not seen your team. So if you want to have a run through who you've got, I've been on in a while, so just talk us through this week, what you've used. Just give us a bit of an update on your season.
Yeah, that's fine. It's been a bit of a nothingy few weeks for me, to be honest. I've been hanging around at about 1,000. I've fallen a bit back to 1,177 now. But I'm relatively positive going forward. So quite optimistic for the next few weeks. I've still got Martinez in goal. I should say in terms of what I've used, Park the Bus, I've used that one. I've got the other two chips still in hand. So I've had Martinez really since the initial spell of European football, never found a chance to get rid of him. And he's actually been pretty solid over the last few weeks. So happy with that. And they've obviously got some games coming up. Villa, lots of fixtures. So he's got 9 so far this week. Estupinan came in. He came in actually as part of me getting rid of my 2 remaining Arsenal players. So Zinchenko went out for Estupinan. Just 2 points, so a bit disappointing there, but Luton's still to come. Van Dijk got 7. Kieran Trippier, didn't get rid of him. He's still in there. He had 9, so that was positive. He played, he was fit, so that's good. Palmer, a bit of a low week for him, 5. But Liverpool to come. Gordon I've still got. Now he really is on the chopping block at some point, but not with Luton at home, I don't think.
Yeah.
Although it is going around in my head how I'm going to use transfers, but get to that later. Kevin De Bruyne, straight in, straight captained, and obviously I knew the risk we were running with him being on the bench for that match. But Burnley at home next. That's hopefully where the big points are going to come.
Should be a goal fest, that.
It should be a goal fest. So looking forward to that. Won't be the opposite of hiding behind the sofa for that. Will be really these goals go in. Also have Foden. Also, it's a 5-man midfield. Got Luis Diaz, who's been a bit disappointing. I always like watching Diaz play when Salah's not in the side. So much seems to go through him historically.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been quite what I thought over the last few weeks. Watkins stays up front. He got 3, and I've got Jota for 9. What I don't have is our no Pedro team. So would have loved him this week.
Yeah.
And I don't have Darwin Núñez, and I think that may have been a bit of a mistake on my part not to get him in a bit sooner, but I was still kind of harking back to the can't hit a barn door days.
Yeah.
So not doing too bad. Yeah, Jota got 9 and Watkins 3. So some decent enough scores kicking in for that first half of the week with some good fixtures to come.
Excellent.
Who did you captain?
So Kevin De Bruyne came straight in.
Yes, you did say, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, bench. So it's all on that Burnley match at home.
Yeah. Like I can see plenty of goals there, obviously. I think Burnley the last couple of times they've been there, they've had a bit of a drubbing, go in there and try and play football against City. I wonder whether company will change it up a little bit. You don't want to go there and get in a good hiding, but yeah, I think De Bruyne probably started that one, won't he?
I think so. Yeah. Didn't look like he was in any trouble against Spurs when he did come on. So, he should be fine.
Yeah.
His last start for Man City was against Burnley, weren't it? The first game of the season.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, they've got some. Yeah, you're just thinking about whether they're going to change their style. They've got 3 of the next 4 are City, Liverpool, and Arsenal, so they need to find a way of picking up a point or 2 somehow.
Sounds lovely.
No.
Yeah. So this week for me, I took out Saliba and who were we on? Saliba and can't think of who I had now. I brought in Trippier and Estupinan. Kept Van Dijk, a lucky goal. Well, I mean a good goal, but a lucky one to get 7 points coming off the bench. Were nice. I had to stick with 2 Arsenal lads, Saka and Martinelli. Johnston's in goal still. Ford and Palmer. Watkins and Nunes. Watkins is stinking my team out. But I do know, I think, what's their single? Is it, who they got in the next? Sheffield United.
That.
And then they've got in fact, it's a double now, isn't it? Because of the FA Cup replay. And it really has just put a bit of a bit of a stumbling block into the plans because I really wanted rid of him. But then can I get rid of him ahead of that double? I don't know. He were quiet, weren't he, against Chelsea? Nunes has been a good addition. And Cunha captained him this week, went for a differential captain. Knew there'd be a lot of max captains around. It'd have been nice to have had Pedro, but yeah, one of them. So Cunha did the business. I was sweating a little bit when crowd started kicking off. I think, don't you dare cancel this game. You absolute arseholes. Come on, please, get them sorted out. Got 10 points riding on this. Anyway, great finish. Good player, Cunha. I don't think he's going to be there for long. I think one of the big sides will snap him up. Really is sharp. I like him a lot. Nothing else special going on in my team. What about you, Ben?
58 points this week. Pretty happy with that. I brought in De Bruyne for Saka reluctantly, but with the possibility of extra fixtures for Man City, I had to do it. And I also brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold for Gusto. So Gusto missed the game at the weekend. Could be back for the Liverpool game, but I just wanted to get the big hitters back in while they're coming ready, so I don't have to worry about it later in the season. Because obviously Haaland's coming back as well. Salah might be back soon. There's obviously might need Saka in the future as well. So there's going to be lots of transfers being used, and I'm pretty happy to receive 3 points off De Bruyne and Trent off the bench, because usually it's a 1 pointer, isn't it? So yeah, not too bad. Nunez got me 8 points. Jota got 9. Obviously, I got Watkins. Palmer got 5. Sterling 2. Foden captain, so only the 3 points, double to 6. Trippier done me all right, and I have Gomez there, 2 points. He went off before the 60-minute mark, but still got the extra point, the bonus point. And Dubravka, 8 points, so not too bad. All 11 players. Sorry?
Trippier's flagged. I know you got off in 86 minutes or something like that. I'm trying to look for something. Are we?
It should be all right, apparently.
Just a bit of a knock or something.
Yeah, Conker was in the Discord. Big Newcastle fan. He says that he should be all right for the next game.
What do we think about obviously the revelations of Kyle Walker coming out today? I'm sure you've all read about that. What about Rico Lewis? If Pep decides to drop him and give him a little bit of I don't know. Do you think that could happen? Do you think Pep's gonna? I don't know.
I hadn't thought about that. It's just talk about something that was going to be hard to cover up in the end of that story. I mean, not good at all. Could be. I mean, so many ways they could play in that with that defense as well, and different defenders might be a shout, but it's Pep, isn't it? How can you read him?
John Stones back fit, isn't he?
Yeah.
Could play right back.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. It'd be interesting to see what he does with Walker. Club captain as well, isn't he? Yeah.
What's that? What is actually happened? Because I've missed this.
Oh, he's got a secret life. He's got another
Actually,
woman.
yes,
Yeah.
I did see this. Yeah,
Another woman and 2 kids.
two
Yeah.
kids with someone else. Yeah.
So obviously, before it's all come out, he's decided to do an interview. Apparently, we're nearly leaving to go to Bayern previous season to try and run away from it all in case it came out. But yeah, I mean, whether he's been saying to Pep, "Oh, I've got to come into training a little bit late because I've got all this with other kids and I've got to travel over there to take them kids to school, then get back to take them kids to school, and he's leaving this like a double agent. It's not good, But yeah, I mean, his head's going to be up his arse. There are big revelations. Obviously, like human beings, aren't they? At the end of the day, they're not robots. So whether Walker is going to be sitting out for a few weeks, it's quite possible. But again, like you say, there's John Stones back from injury. Rico Lewis could if he's fit, get a nod. But
I think Baz is sweating. He's put what revelations? He
got Walker?
Yeah, he brought Walker in this week.
Baz, should have known that they were going to be this double life that he's been leading. And do you know what I mean? How's your look?
Yeah, I can't think for the life of me. I can't remember when Pep's had to kind of discipline a player for outside of football reasons before, and what precedent there is for it. I just racking my head. I can't think of much.
Yeah.
I mean, he fell out with Cancelo, didn't he? And that ended pretty quickly after they fell out. But yeah, I'm not sure. So it's going to be wait for that team sheet. Which
was it not Walker who fell out with before as well? Was it not Walker who dropped out the team for a while?
Yeah,
there was something going on there. I can't quite remember what it was, but yeah, he did drop out for a while. I think he come back and within a few weeks he was captain. So strange one, but yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on, especially if you brought Walker in or you've got Walker in your side. Just or you thinking of bringing him in. It wouldn't be something that. Yeah, so like
you see, Baz's comment. It's only a second family. He can still play.
Yeah. Just a quick one on my team. Just to say where it's sat. 322nd in the leaderboard so far. Yeah. What's the second? Where's the second chance league? Second shot, I'm at 11k 100. Just update that. Right, just straight into the questions then. Concup first. Will we be getting any more of Woolly's Waffle on the Patreon? You thought there was a really good read. Wooly.
Thanks, Conk. That's very nice to hear. Yeah, there will be more Woolly's Waffle. I think I said it's about 8 weeks ago when I was last on here that I would be doing some more fairly soon. Didn't really get to it then. Probably before that, I'd stopped for a prolonged period due to really busy time at work, and it's probably just taken a bit of time to get over that, to be honest. Both just in the zone of adding more tasks to the task list rather than going around trying to see some family who I didn't see a lot of during, not a second family, that is, but parents, etc., a bit more than I have been. So yeah, that will come. There will be more Woolly's Waffle to bore some and to obviously entertain Connor. So that's good.
Excellent.
Tony, if you scroll up a bit further, the questions are coming in before I actually ask for the questions.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Right. 24. Right, yeah. So Anthony Stringer first up there, isn't he? Right. I'll have a quick run through his team. He's struggling who to take out and bring in. What are your opinions? Would you roll the transfers possibly? Bloody hell, I might need my glasses to see this. His team is Vicario, Trippier, Walker, Estupiñán, Foden, Saka, De Bruyne, Palmer, Pedro captain. Nice work. Watkins and Jota. What do you reckon then, Ben?
Well, normally, if you want your team rated, you put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
We don't usually do it on the pod. Yeah, I can see where it's coming from. There's not a lot to do. Not a lot we can do this week with it. Only a few double game weeks. Watkins is obviously in there. He's
already got him.
He's got Palmer as well, which is good. Yeah, I can see where he's coming from. Well, Walker's interesting, but surely he can still play football. It would have helped if he put the next fixtures on his team as well. He's put this week's points instead of next week's fixtures. Yeah, I can see.
It looks pretty well set, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks pretty set for next week. You probably could roll.
Yeah.
Roll it, and then you've got free transfers for next week when City play the double game week with Everton and Copenhagen.
Yeah, it's a nice double.
I think that's probably where I'd go as well. I mean, if I had to make 2 transfers in that, Vicario would probably be one of them. I think you'd probably get him off for the future to a European keeper. I mean, he's good. He's probably good this week with Brentford at home and then Everton away in the single. But long term, you might see that you could get rid of him. But then, well, you could get rid of Saka for the long term as well. But then they've got Forest away, so roll seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think roll. Unless we hear anything about Walker and getting a kick up arse off Pep.
Sorry, Wooly, that's this week's fixtures, isn't it? Forest. So
you're right. You make really
forget about
Yeah, they're already locked in, so you can't do anything about them ones.
Yeah, that's the problem about playing multiple games sometimes, isn't it? You think you're at different times of the week. You're right.
Arsenal have Liverpool next week.
Yeah, Arsenal, Liverpool. So I think that is, I mean, it's short term actually. That Spurs got Everton away and Arsenal got Liverpool at home. Other teams have got doubles. So Martinez would have a double. You can move Vicario there. He does play in the cup, doesn't he? So I think those would be the 2 I'd be thinking about still, Vicario and Saka, and maybe I might make those moves. But we'll know more about Walker as well, won't we? Because Burnley, they'll have played Burnley before we next get to choose about Walker. So
yeah, we'll know more then. So if he's not in the squad, it could be someone looking at moving on there. Other than that, you should be fine. Oz has been on. Evening, lads. Are we putting Watkins back in with our tails between our legs? I dropped Lucky because I had other fires to put out, so Watkins stayed in my side. So I've sneaked a double in there and probably saved me to sell a transfer. But I do think that a lot of people will be trying to put him back in now because of that double. Ben, are you going to be one of them, or are you just going to avoid the disappointment that Watkins brings?
Well, I've got him still as well. So
all right, you're all right then.
Yeah, it's. I think if you literally have no double game week players next week, you got to bring one into captain. I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not too fussed about bringing him back if you've got a few doublers, because I'd be looking more ahead to the Man City double the week after in 23, because they double in 23 and 24, and I think 25 as well, don't they? So double check that.
All the way through, yeah.
Yeah. So
they're stacked.
Still stacked. Everton, Copenhagen, Chelsea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Luton, Man United, Copenhagen. So it's 4 double game weeks in a row. Villa do have Europe in March, so if you're going to bring them in, but then you want Haaland as well the week after, so it's tricky, innit?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm not too fussed about bringing him in. but it's decent. Sheffield United, Chelsea.
Yeah, it's not because obviously it's Chelsea at home now, isn't it?
Yeah.
We know they're very good at home, so you probably get a few more chances there. It's a decent double that for Watkins. If I know what you're saying, Ben, if you have, I don't know, if you've already got Palmer and Sterling, say, you won't be clambering to get Watkins in. Probably just captain one of the Chelsea lads and go from there, maybe. But yeah, if your team's set up well, you can afford the transfer.
I mean, there are going to be a few. There are definitely going to be a few people who want Watkins back, even if you don't get him back now from 25 onwards, because they will have, I think, 3 doubles in a row. With the first double being Forest at home, and then Argyle or Leeds at home.
If they beat Chelsea,
yeah. If they beat Chelsea, exactly. So if they beat Chelsea at home, so yeah. So contingent on that, if they've got Argyle or Leeds at home, I mean, I'm not going to put up any argument against that, even if it's Argyle there, because not great away.
Well,
but you do have our superstar defender, Ash Phillips.
We do, absolutely.
We got absolutely robbed off Spurs. Robbed. Bastards. We're not letting Crystal Palace do the same with Adam Wharton, though. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, good shout that, Bully, about Watkins' doubles coming up further on.
It is a shame. If they were in the playoff leg of the Europa Conference, we'd all be desperate for him as well, but they're not. So,
yeah. Nathan Wisby, best captain picks for game week 22. Beat you to it, Wadey. Who do you reckon then, Ben? If you had them all, if you had all the doublers, who you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's got to be someone from Chelsea or Villa. Watkins obviously is a really good double. Like you said, if you fancy Villa to beat Chelsea at home, it is a good transfer, I suppose, to bring him in. Because you're going to get the doubles later on in March. But it's just, if you've got a double Liverpool strike force as well, if you've got Jota and Nunez, you're going to end up probably taking him back out next week for the Man United game.
Yeah.
Because you want Haaland, don't you? So Villa, Palmer, Sterling, something like that. Watkins, Palmer, Sterling. Make sure you get 2 games out of somebody, I think, if you're going to captain someone. I wouldn't go for a single game week player.
Yeah, what do you reckon, boy?
100% agree there. I think if you've got Watkins or Palmer, then it's an easy choice. If you hadn't and you had, say, Martinez, when I say an easy choice, it's if you've got both of Watkins and Palmer, I mean, it's probably toss a coin time, because Wolves at home isn't a bad fixture. Could easily get a penalty. Sheffield United away for Villa, also not a bad fixture. So Watkins or Palmer number ones. Then, I mean, if you happen to have anyone else, Douglas Luiz or Sterling still, they're credible, and I think there'll be a few with goalkeepers as well. But yeah, I'm in the luxury. I do have Watkins, I do have Palmer, so that's going to be my just before the deadline dilemma.
Yeah, if gun to my head, I'd go Watkins, just because that Chelsea game's back at home, and I prefer their first fixture. I like Wolves. I think they're a decent side. Sheffield United away. Yeah, I prefer Watkins' fixtures. So just off the fixtures alone, they're both on penalties, aren't they? Oh no, sorry, Douglas Luiz is on penalties, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Oh.
I captained him against Sheffield United early in the season as well, Watkins.
Did you?
And he blanked.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I just talked myself into Palmer. just for penalties alone. And he loves the shot, doesn't he? He's always shooting from anywhere, Palmer. So
Yeah.
he's actually looked very good for Chelsea. Really good. Better than what I ever seen him at City. He looks more of a player down there. And then obviously following on from Nathan's captain picks question, what team should we be targeting? Obviously, just run through that. Chelsea, Villa are the ones really. Anyone from Forest? Leading into the next question, is Morgan Gibbs shite a shrewd pick for game week 22? I think he stung a few earlier on in the season, did he?
Yeah, I mean, he did, and he could, but I mean, he's going to be a definite move out, isn't it? If you bring him in, I mean, we talk about Watkins. You might want to get rid of him, depending on how many other strikers you've got who aren't Haaland and particularly who aren't Haaland. Gibbs White, you won't be keeping him through a sea of singles when City are doubling every single week. So I don't really like booking in that transfer. But yeah, Gibbs White, if it was anyone.
Yeah, I'd avoid Forest completely.
Yeah.
It's not every week Chris Wood scores a hat-trick, is it?
No. I think also just on, if I find the question on teams to target, I wasn't quite sure whether that question was teams to target just for this week, or well, it was for this week, or whether you would think about maybe making transfers for further down the line with transfers this week. But I think the doubles, you're going to want to go into Villa and Chelsea, aren't you? And there's no argument against going into Villa medium and long term too much. Whether there would be one other team you could target now, which is Man City with Brentford away, and then the doubles. You'd be ahead of the game, so you'd be sat with City. So I think there's kind of an argument you could go that way, but if you don't have anyone to captain for the doubles, get somebody in there, as Ben and Tony have both said.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Just say Man City stringer target double game week players. Yes, but do you know what I mean? I won't be bringing, if I've already got Palmer and Watkins, I won't be bringing in a Chelsea defender and a Villa defender. Do you know what I mean? I won't be loading up. A couple, I reckon's enough, especially when you've got the big hitters in Palmer and Watkins. I think that's fine. I'd then be targeting another week ahead at least. Probably City and their doubles that are coming up. Obviously, injuries pending that it changes so quickly, especially because we've got another round of fixtures to come in the next couple of days, haven't we? So it's all up in the air a little bit. I mean, I'm not one to revel in someone's pain. Do you know, I knew I'd outlast Klopp. I said he should have left last season. James, I'm sorry. Sorry, mate. I know you're a bit upset and you didn't want to talk about it, but good. Get rid of him. The fucking whinging shit. Anyway, James.
Didn't see that coming, Tony, at all. You having a go at Klopp tonight?
Oh, God. Honestly, I was listening to Talk Sport. The Klopp loving was making me feel sick. They were speaking about like he died. Oh God, it just won't be the same. The Premier League won't be the same without him. Oh, shut up. Yeah, all these scousers phoning in, crying. No, come on, get a grip. He's won one Premier League title in 8 years. Not good enough. Not good enough, that. And they've not Spencer Bean, obviously. Anyway. United are getting a rest, aren't they? Over the last 6 months. James or Spurs fan, because he's got a Spurs badge. It's not James Fricker. Predictions on Liverpool's manager next season. I think it's signed, sealed, delivered. Xabi Alonso, I think, by the sounds of it, sat at the top at Bundesliga with Leverkusen, isn't he? I think he might be winning the Bundesliga and coming back over to Liverpool. Liked him as a player, top player. I believe he'd be a decent addition there. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, he's looking really good after what he's been doing this season at Leverkusen. But wasn't it always going to be Stevie G's job until he went to Saudi Arabia? I think it's like tarnished his CV a little bit going over there.
I think with Stevie G, I think he needed to probably sit in Scottish League for a little bit longer and wait for the job. He came down to Villa, which, to be fair,
did okay initially, didn't he?
Yeah, he did all right, and then he just went a little bit south. But then, with the players they had there and the money they spent as well, I think it shows when Emery come in and he got them playing the way he has and where he is sat now, it shows that Gerrard weren't doing a good enough job. So I think they were right to get rid of him. And whether that's put Liverpool off, it will have done. We've seen the same happen with Lampard and Wayne Rooney more recently as well. Solskjaer's tried to go back, and it doesn't always work with these former players. Not all former players make great managers. They've got good contacts in the game, and they are a bit of a draw, but yeah, they are being found out by some of these serious top draw managers. And I think they've got to. Xabi Alonso's proving he can do it in a big league. He's got Leverkusen, who aren't. They are a big side, but they're not the biggest of sides who are in Germany. And to have them sat pretty at top of league ahead of Bayern, I think they got a couple of points lead with the game in hand. Shows he's doing something right, and I think he's showing some good credentials. What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, it sounds like it, as you say, from all the chatter, signed, sealed, and delivered. But I don't know. My first thoughts on when Klopp left were why is he going? What's he off to? And hopefully, there's no kind of, nothing untoward behind the scenes. But I could imagine that if he's saying he's a bit tired of day-to-day management, maybe he won't want the international job. Germany. So does that mean Nagelsmann could become free? Would Liverpool want him? Mind you, is another big question. Roberto De Zerbi doing pretty well down there. Is it a bit soon for him? Would he want to risk ruining his career in the wake of whatever you think, Tony? Obviously, Liverpool fans adore Klopp, so whoever comes next and starts failing more quickly.
Yeah, massive boots to fill now.
Huge boots. So I think Alonso. I just don't know, as you say, whether it feels like this has been planned. The way that it was a club interview, it feels like this must have been going on behind the scenes for a while. So they have their man. Yeah,
I think so. I will put it out there though. I know I Klopp bash a lot. I will put it out there. He's a guy who I'd rather on my side, kind of thing. He's someone who annoys me as an opponent because I don't like his excuses, his whinging. But for Liverpool and for their fans, and he's passionate about the game. He's a passionate guy. If he was managing my side, he was managing Rovers. You want him on your team, don't you? But yeah, I just took a little bit of a dislike to his excuses and a bit of whining.
Yeah, we take him as director of football down at Argyle, I'm sure.
Right. Well, there we are. Klopp leaving. James, second question. Targeting City players with the upcoming double games from game week 23 seems to be the play. We all going that way, Ben?
Yeah. Target them from game week 22. Get them in. If you've like you just said, if you've already got Villa and Chelsea players, I wouldn't bring any more in. Just captain one of them, and then start looking at City, especially with all them double game weeks coming up. And hopefully they'll announce the Liverpool and Luton game. Is it in 24? Just double check. Yeah, 20 game week 24. Hopefully they announce that game going in there. If because the Carabao Cup final's in 25 now, so Luton game's been postponed. Hopefully they bring it forward because there's no other slots for Liverpool to play because they've got the Europa League starting in March.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like Ben and all the fixture planning experts seem to align on that it's the only place it can go really. So yeah, that keeps Liverpool interesting, doesn't it, for the moment? Certainly. But I think on that question, I know there's a sort of related question coming down the track to this on sort of how many City. But for the moment, on the should you be targeting City? I know last week one of my two moves was to bring a City player in, and would have been probably two if I could. I think this week it might be bringing City again, +1 if I make any transfers at all.
Yeah, it is. It is one of those. Now we've got a couple of singles coming up. It gives us the opportunity to maybe make moves that, if there were a few doubles, you're probably looking at better fixtures and probably not putting as many City in. Whereas with the singles, it's just, well, we could just get ready and load up, but only if you've got a full 11 anyway. So obviously these injuries keep popping up here and there, and when Trippier's triangle ended up on their out, I was like, piss off, will you? Come on, not another one. Because I do remember it was Gusto that I brought in. I brought in Trippier and Estupiñán for Saliba, who only had the single, and Arsenal haven't been defensively very, very solid recently. And Gusto went out. So Sam Johnston survived in my team for another week. You never know, he might play. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it just seems there's an injury every week.
If you've got nothing else to do this week, Tony, presumably you wouldn't be rolling. You'd be getting Sam Johnston out.
Yeah, definitely. If there's nothing for me to do, if Trippier's fine, Sam Johnston will be going, and I will be bringing in a City player, whether that's De Bruyne. He's probably going to be De Bruyne. Haaland news is going to be tricky though. Cunha's obviously gone after the double this week. As much as I love him, he'll be gone. So that's either Cunha to Haaland, Cunha to De Bruyne. Do we know how far Haaland? He weren't in the squad, was he? Last game?
No.
So he's still. I mean, I know Pep's saying like, "Oh, he had a great time out in Dubai and the training, and he's not felt anything." But why wasn't he in the squad? Is he still a couple of weeks away?
Yeah. So the quote from 4 days ago was, "We thought it was a bit less, but in the end, it was a little bit of a fracture of the bone. When you have this, it's a question of time." ... We'll give him 3 or 4 days, and hopefully against Burnley, he can play his first minutes. So it certainly doesn't refer in that quote, which I presume is from Pep, but could be from one of the other coaching staff. I mean, I presume that's pretty guaranteed that he's not going to start, if that quote will go by.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound like he's far away. But then it doesn't sound like he's been far away since New Year's Day. So
yeah. I've got a £50 bet that he reaches 20 league goals. So I think he needs 6 more. Best get back to fit soon. Otherwise, it's going to cost me 50 quid. Right. Right, Twed. Seen a few talking about a City load up. Sure, this can't be a play with this point system. Wooly.
So depends how load up you want to go, really. So I think the question of how many do you bring in? So I think this is a very similar question. I think somewhere David87's also asked about, is 7, 8 or 9 for this run worth bringing in? Personally, I think it's probably Haaland, Foden, KDB, and depending on your team structure, Alvarez. For me, tick the box, no question. Don't really need to talk too much more about that. Alvarez, you might find there are other players elsewhere that you want in that sort of striker spot. So take that or leave it. I mean, I'm then maybe on Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Doku. I was maybe on Walker, but we'll leave that back in the pile of don't know what's going on there. I don't think you need Edison. I think there are other keepers who will get more points through season long. And if you've got absolutely nothing else to do, you could bring him in for that run of doubles. So I think, and I think in my kind of ideal team, so I did a bit of a let's have a look. If money were no object, who would I want for this run coming forward? I think I actually did get to 6 City, which is basically the players I've just talked about. And in midfield for the run of doubles after doubles, I was happy to have potentially Rodri and Bernardo Silva sitting there. So, yeah, 6-ish for me.
Yeah. Ben?
Yeah, I agree totally with what you just said. Just to add to that, last season there was 5 points for a star man, and obviously you could only get 1 star man from each match. So it was quite a big deal to try and get a lot of talismans in from different teams, because you got 5 points from obviously possible 5 points in different games. But now with no star man and the bonus points are everywhere, I think it's even more of a good thing to get Man City players in, especially with them having loads of fixtures. I think it's good time to pile on. And I did have a little play around last week with my team. I haven't, I had about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 or 7 Man City over this period. So, yeah, it's a good time to get them in, I think.
Definitely. And what I was quite relieved when doing that bit of a play around with the team as well, to see what I'd actually want, is I was quite scared last week on the podcast by Fergie and his team value. So he had, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he had quite a few more million between his team and the bank than certainly I have. And it was kind of niggling at the back of my mind is that we're going to get to that point where when you want to pile into the big sides, you're going to need that money. But the kind of ideal team for me for the next few weeks, if money was no object, was just about 54 million. I can't quite afford that, but I'm only sacrificing Alisson down to Martinez in goal. That's the only sacrifice I've got from what I really wanted. So I was a bit relieved in doing that.
Edison's only 2.7 million now. It's just
he's really good. I mean, I guess what we got.
Doesn't score points, does he?
He will do now with all the fixtures.
Yeah, I mean, what does he remind you? You may know more than me, Ben, on terms of Ortega. What does he? Ortega plays in English Cups. Doesn't play in Europe, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Edison will play in the Champions League, but Edison won't play in the FA Cup.
Yeah, still enough games there, isn't there? Stats still.
Yeah. I don't like that.
There's no obviously Martinez plays in all the cups, doesn't he? But
Yeah.
It's Villa versus Man City. I think I'd still want Man City keeper. I don't know. Alisson doesn't play in Europa League, so and he played in the last FA Cup match, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the other way around with him. But you get two European games every time, don't you? In the FA Cup, you've got one now because there's no more replays in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, Edison did have a bit of time out, and obviously he's got a little bit of Ortega rotation more so in the past. But I mean, Martinez is the third best keeper in the game this season so far, behind Onana and Alisson.
Yeah,
only 5 points behind Alisson. So
there's
not much in those keepers, is there? It's not.
You're in no rush to change yours.
Not at all. So I've got Martinez. I'll keep. I think I got out of Johnston into him about 5 months ago, Tony. But yeah, pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it's the things is with the keepers and the defenders. City defenders and keeper, they're scoring so low because they don't have much to do. They don't have as much as other teams. Like Onana, United have been shite all season. He's getting peppered left, right, and centre, and that is why he's getting more points. I mean, Edison would be good for 2 points a game. He might get 3, but City just keep throwing one in their own net.
Once they start getting those clean sheets, though, he'll fly up the rankings.
I know, but with if I have nothing to do, I'll change a keeper. If I've got something to do, then I'd rather just have Johnson not play.
Yeah, there's been no standout keepers this year. Anyway,
the points are so low for him. I
think it's the worst season forever. The amount of clean sheets in a Premier League season.
Right, so that's probably telling then.
Yeah,
because we thought it might, with having the save points, it might boost them up a little bit, and they might actually be a bit more worthwhile. But yeah, if the clean sheets have been that low, and it is one of them seasons, and it just says everything, doesn't it?
They might need to look at that again next season in terms of the point structure a bit there if they want to tweak it up a bit for goalkeepers. Because I can't. Yeah. A lot of the things that are meaning more goals per game and fewer clean sheets, they're not going away. The everlasting matches, they don't seem to be going away. I think it. But then,
what is just like. So again, I don't want to repeat myself, but I said at the start of the season that the City defenders have struggled for the points looking at the scoring matrix. And Walker's on 111, which is the City's top scoring defender, where Trent's on 172, 60-odd points ahead of that. Like people like Gvardiol, 100, Ake, 90, scored a couple of goals, Akanji, 86, Diaz, 86. They're down with the likes of Senasai for Bournemouth, Gay at Palace, Kilman at Wolves. That's the likes of like the amount of points that they're getting. Where the big hitters are, you see the fullbacks, Trent, Trippier, Porro, Michaelenko's up there with 131 points. I know about fixture volume and stuff, but I just wouldn't. I don't know. For me, I don't think I want to be touching City's defence.
I think Everton have kept the most clean sheets, haven't they, so far this season? The few weeks ago it was. Sorry?
But So obviously that's what's put Michaelenko's points up, and obviously he's quite decent on the matrix. But like Damo, United have been shit. They've been so shit, but he is better than every City option. That's crazy. I know they have the fixtures coming up, but defence isn't where I would go. And what scares me a little bit going forward now is rotation, because you rewind, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, you didn't have De Bruyne, you didn't have Doku, And now them two are back. Haaland's about to come back, which then puts Alvarez's minutes at risk because he's getting dual-sided from Haaland and De Bruyne attacking his minutes. I don't know. There's a lot of options up there, and they've got, like you say, they've got a lot of games. Some of them might not even make it off the bench in some of them, so they might end up just playing singles. So I don't like the sound of 6 or 7. I think 4 and go for the main men. But a good play, I will also argue, a good play would be if you went heavy on the defence and thought, do you know what, they might keep 3 or 4 clean sheets in a row. They might do what they did the other years in January's and February's gone by and just have like a clean sheet streak of 10 games. And you might just casual all the clean sheet points off them.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible, but they haven't. Their defenders are outscored, as you say, by some others, and the likes of Konza at Villa, he's got 11 or 12 games now to City's 12, and he's outscoring a lot of their defenders. So, I mean, I'd be tempted by him. The reason 6 you could get in, I think you can. Your likes of Rodri is going to start most games anyway, and he'll tick along. He's not as good in that game as some other games. And then the rest, it's a bit like when we all used to have Mahrez in the old version. You know he'd play, 1.5 games out of every 2. He's not going to be there the whole time, or even less at times of high rotation. But he's just going to score. That Copenhagen game away in a couple of weeks' time, he could have got a hat trick, and any one of their attackers could gets the hat trick.
Yeah, and that's a scary point, isn't it? It's like you could put in Foden, De Bruyne, Haaland, and Alvarez, and you can have all 4 of them, and Doku goes and scores 4. That's the danger.
Yeah.
But then finding that balance, that's where luck comes into it as well. It is where luck comes into it.
Yeah. Would you rather have Porro for 4 games or possibly a Walker for 9 games over the same period?
Yeah, I mean, I completely get that. And you've always got to play a fixture volume or a fixture quality. I would have, if it was a Walker or a Diaz, someone I knew was going to start probably 90% of them games, then you're going for the City player. Just because they've got the chance of getting more.
Porro could probably could equal what the City defender got though with his 20 points here and there.
Yeah, so then if you drop that down and said a City defender for 6 games or a Porro for 4 games, then you're talking. Well, do you know what? I'd probably go Porro. Because with them City defenders, you are relying on clean sheets because they're not doing anything else. That's because they're so good. Like City as a team are so good, so they're not racking up the bonus points and the tackles and other things. They've always got the ball.
Yeah, it's just the way it depends how you look at it. And if you want to keep Porro, you could look at it shorter term, couldn't you? And then reassess later in the season after the in-game 25. Or you could start thinking, right, from now till game week 27, you could maximise the Man City defender. And hopefully that the points will add up.
Yeah, the equal at least, or you could get a few decent holes out of them, a few clean sheets.
And then hopefully they keep progressing in the cups as well. So then you've got more fixtures as well after that.
Yeah. It's just some of these fullbacks are scary. Like Estupiñán's been on a crazy run. I know he only got 2 this week, bit poor, but since he's come back from injury, he's been on a great run. Trippier, they don't need clean sheets, these lads, to put in a double-digit haul.
Yeah.
They're just doing it without.
No, there was a match, and I think there was a match when there's a lot of Newcastle fans in the Discord and other fans of football in general. Obviously, you were looking at a match and kind of, I think the considered opinion was Trippier had an absolute stinker. Was terrible. He had got passes in Sky, mind you, but he was absolutely terrible. And he was sort of in a double-digit haul. It was just some of the ability of those fullbacks for doing what looked like having little influence on the game and then getting all the points.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be watched. I mean, there's no wrong way. We'll know the wrong way when it happens. Like we're not psychics, but yeah, you got to put it all out there. Is this, Gaza said, is this becoming the BBC with repeats about being next game week captain? Oz, another one from Oz. Who would you pick to replace Gomez with? Disasi or Chilwell? So I take it he's attacking the game week, the double for Chelsea in this game week with the cup replay. What do you reckon, Matt?
He is. I'm thinking Konza, possibly from Villa. I mean, I'm quite liking. Actually, I'm liking Liverpool defenders over the next run. So once Luton gets slotted in, and then they get Europa League games later down the line, they also have a huge run of back-to-back matches. So that what looks at the moment, if you look at the fixture tickers, as quite a few blanks, isn't that bad at all. So they could double in 24, 25, 26 and 27, as I think you said earlier. So I like Virgil van Dijk. If you haven't got him, you can move Gomez to him. Not much difference in price there. I like Trent, and I think there's a question in the chat about is it too early to bring him back? Well, I think he was on the bench in the last game, I think, for Liverpool in the cup. And so my kind of ideal defence for this next period actually doesn't include any City defenders for the reasons you gave, Tony. I want something like Virgil, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and possibly Konza. I mean, he's 132 points. Yeah, and he's got a whole heap of games to come. It's not quite optimal for 22, 23, but or particularly 23 with the City double there. But apart from that, it's got a cracker on a fixture. So yeah, if you haven't got them, for me, it's Virgil, Trent, unless we hear any news that anything's flared back up, and Konza. They're my three defenders I want, and I only want three.
Yep. Ben, did you hear the question?
No.
Right. It's obviously Oz is looking to get rid of Gomez. And he said, who would you replace him with, Disasi or Chilwell? And Matt's just gone down the Liverpool route. Just said he won't replace him with the Chelsea lads, and the Konza being an option.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't bring in a Chelsea or I mean, the Villa defender's okay because you're going to get European games later on in March. But yeah, I'd probably look at bringing Trent back in if it were me. Obviously, you don't have to do it this week because they're playing Arsenal. But in the long run, you're going to want Trent back anyway. So it might save you a transfer later on because you're going to get like tied up a little bit when, say, if Salah and Haaland came in at the same week, then you're not going to be able to get Trent in or something like that because you can only get 2 transfers a week. So Trent will still score points against Arsenal, even if he concedes. He'll get bonus points and chance created and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think Trent's a good replacement.
Yeah, I won't go for one at Chelsea lads. Very much the same. If you can get to Trent from Gomez, yeah, good option. He's back. He's a player you want to put in and keep. Just touching on, because like you say, Ben, you might end up with all these big hitters coming back at once. so it is ideal to have them in. But my plan for that is if they do all jump back in at once, I've got my 12th man as well. So,
Yeah.
so I'd be using it, like you say, if Salah and Haaland decide to jump in 1 week, Trent, Salah, Haaland, they had to get them all back in. I'd probably just be using my 12th man. I probably wouldn't be going without.
Yeah, that's a very good time to use it.
Yeah, it definitely. If you can use it for when maybe you need 3 transfers but you don't quite have them, that's if you've still got the chip. But yeah, Trent, mate. Graham, is it time to say fuck it to the planning ahead and just play the game each week as if it's a weekly comp? Matt?
It's not the way I'm going to play it. I think there have been weeks, probably once we've shifted out AFCON and Asian Cup players recently, where we've been able to do that. I think the days of the kind of planning transfers out the 5 over a month, and you can get into real trouble if you go too quick and you haven't planned properly. It's not as extreme, and you can get yourself out of a hole quicker probably. But I mean, I think Tony, you're much higher than me, but in terms of the league this season. But I mean, I wouldn't like to get in the position of having that goalkeeper who's still there for months not playing. Everything you've done clearly has massively outscored me at certain times in other ways. So I think there is planning involved, and I think to get 4 or 6 City in, or to spot that Villa are doubling quite a bit, and you could move into them in a bit of a way, or Chelsea. You don't want to have gone into too hard because they are going to have some spots of single game weeks of like City away soon. So I think there is planning, but there's a bit of freedom too. I mean, I've got not a lot of fires at this moment before this midweek set of fixtures to put out. So I'm probably rolling a transfer, but that the reward for that isn't great. So you could just have a punt on 1 or 2 of the best players for this week that are differentials, maybe.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, I think this is referring to João Pedro last week, isn't it? Because he had a very good game, but he scored another 2 penalties again. So if he didn't have those 2 penalties, it wouldn't have been such a big goal, I was saying, like, back in the old game, that would have been at least 28 points, and he only got 24 points this season. I think if there's something that you really, really like, just use the one transfer to get a player in you want a captain, maybe. But I tend to like looking ahead. And like I said, I'm thinking about piling into Man City, getting all those extra fixtures, because them points will add up later on in the season.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying, Graham. I don't think it's a weekly comp. As Matt just touched on, I've played without a goalkeeper for 5 or 6 weeks now. Do I want to play without a goalkeeper? Definitely not. I want to play with 11. But for example, this week I could have got rid of Sam Johnston, but it meant keeping Gusto. So Gusto possibly play this week in midweek in the Premier League game. I knew he were out of the cup game. So I could have put, I don't know, I could have put Edison in, Allison. I could put anybody in because money was no object. But if I'd have put one of these keepers in, who have got a very, very low ceiling this season, I would have missed out on putting either Trippier or a Stupinan in. It would have been Trippier because the Stupinan had already put in. He was going in. It was Trippier that I was toying with. So it was Trippier versus Edison. And I went for Trippier. Yeah, that leaves me without a goalkeeper again. But then I'm hoping that this week it falls better for me. I've not got any injuries and I can finally play with 11. But I don't think it's cost me much over the last, say, 4 or 5 weeks. It'd have been nice to probably have a Dubravka or a Martinez in, but I've had other stuff to do, higher ceilings and players with much more point potential to bring in. That's why I think it's not a 1 game week thing where you can just punt every week. You have to plan, and I'm seeing it probably 2 weeks. But then when you've got a block like Man City, which Ben alludes to, where they've got so many games in a short space of time, like they're doubling over everybody, it's something you have to take seriously. And you're playing it as a game week competition. I don't think it'll quite work. But yeah, I do think it's a lot shorter than last year. I'm playing it like a fortnightly thing where I'm playing the next 2 game weeks each time. That's my plan. Right. We've already looked at Conk. We've already had that. Coles. Hope you like that FA Cup draw, Tony. I did until 16 minutes into the Rovers game, and it looked like we're going to do what we do best and concede. But come away, put Wrexham in their place, show them this is the big boys league up here. None of this Hollywood stuff. It's not a fairy tale. Stick that on your Disney in documentary. My niece and nephew were actually mascots tonight as well. But yeah, it'd be nice to have Newcastle back. Another 7,000 Geordies down there. Hopefully,
Alan Shearer derby.
Yeah, apparently he's gonna come and sit in Blackburn End with Rovers fans.
Wow.
Just like he did with Newcastle fans away at where was he? Who did they beat away from home? Can't think who it was now, but Shearer were in the crowd. Anyway, Coles, yeah, we'll be seeing you down at Ewood, mate. If you want to make the trip, mate, we'll go to the game together if you fancy, pal. Who would you recommend to bring in? Watkins or Nunes? Trippier or VVD? Ben, which ones, mate?
Tricky, isn't it? At the moment, I think for the next few weeks you could bring in Watkins, but then you're going to want Nunez for game week 24 onwards.
Can you believe you just said that?
I know.
We're gonna want Nunez. Yeah.
It's just if that they're waiting for that Luton game to get announced in game 24. I'm surprised it hasn't been announced yet. It's getting closer and closer.
It's got to be in the next few days, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Surely.
I mean, longer term, it's if you're going to captain Watkins, you're going to bring him in, aren't you? But I think I prefer having Nunez for the fixtures, just because Liverpool are so attacking, and Nunez is even the shots on target is lovely because he gets a point every time.
Yeah,
it just builds up and builds up. Like in any other game, you won't get a point just for a shot on target. I mean, he is all action, isn't he? Chances created.
Yeah,
he gets the odd assist as well. Yeah, so longer term, I'd rather have Nunez. The other one is Trippier. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Short term, long term.
Yeah.
You got to go for the longer term, really. That's the way I play it. And I'd probably have Van Dijk, but those 3 games for Newcastle now, Luton, Forest, Bournemouth, it's like you're booking transfers in. You're going, right, I'll have Trippier for the next 3, and then I'll bring Van Dijk in. So it's tricky. because there's so many top players out injured, and we know we're going to need them in. I don't want to snooker myself, so I would probably go for Nunez and Van Dijk, just so I've got the spare transfers to bring up Haaland in, Salah in when I want them, Trent as well. But it's team dependent, like you say.
Yeah, Matt.
So I've got the short term options. I've got Watkins and Trippier at the moment, so they're a hold. So although I'm sort of in the long term, like Ben, and when I answered the previous question on my top 3 defenders, that was kind of looking out towards late Feb and March. Trippier is in there right now, and you can't look past those fixtures. Absolutely, and three single game weeks for Newcastle. I mean, yeah, you're booking in transfers, but you'll have 6 over that period, so 1 transfer to get him out feels okay. But I definitely want Van Dijk, and I've got him already. So yeah, if you don't have many fires to put out, and you don't have too much else you need to in the plan, you could bring in Trippier and even Watkins and shift them on. But it's not what I like doing. You do put risk into it if you've got other things that will need to happen. So not a huge amount to add to what Ben has said. It's short term versus long term.
I think if it boils down to Liverpool getting that extra game against Luton, I think I'd be happy with Trippier for February. Because obviously they've got the FA Cup extra game as well against Watford or Southampton. So yeah, it's for the month. This month I'd have Trippier, and then I'd be happy to bring Van Dijk in for March when the Europa League starts.
Yeah, I think that's a fair shout, or even possibly it's that Saturday the 17th of February for Brentford and Luton, if that comes in. As you say, that hinges on that, and I know it's really likely. I mean, for Nunez, it's like he's gone from sort of second gear to fifth gear, so he's banging form at the moment. So even though fixture wise, Watkins has got points on the board, and he's got Sheffield United and Chelsea and United. Yeah, I mean, Nunez isn't a bad shout. I wonder what happens to Nunez again when Salah comes back. Has it been that Nunez has found his form when he's had a bit more space and a bit more, a bit less of Salah being Salah around him? I don't know. Or is it just that he has actually found his radar at last?
You haven't missed Salah, have they?
They haven't.
Which bodes well for Liverpool going forward. Obviously, if he does leave this summer, I think I like Jota. Very, very good player. Diaz always looks electric. Like you say, he's always involved in everything. I'm surprised he's not scoring higher each game. And Nunez loves a shot. He is all action, puts himself about. Yeah, and he's starting to score some goals now as well, which is good. I've got all 4 of them. So obviously short term covered for the nice little run for Trippier. Watkins has obviously the double this week. And is it United the next one they've got? Sheffield United, Chelsea United. I might then jump away from him, obviously, to a Haaland. Or if Haaland is back next week, Watkins is straight back out. I'll be keeping Nunez. To choose between them, it's so tricky. Because short term, you want Watkins and Trippier, don't you? I think just for this, if you look at it this game week and even next, if you had to keep Watkins. But then after that, you want Nunez and Van Dijk. play a 2-game week, I'd have Watkins and Trippier. But if that is two transfers you're thinking of bringing in, it'd be interesting to know, Coles, who you're taking out for them. Obviously, you got the big run of City coming up.
He's in the chat. See if he can put the answer in the comments.
Yeah, if you could give us a little run through of your team, it really would open that question up a little bit more, because it's a tricky one. Short term, Watkins, Trippier, Núñez, and VVD are the better long term picks. Yeah. Whilst you do that, Coles, DT Patrick, has the FA Cup draw changed any of your transfer plans for how you want to set up your teams? For me, that's a no. I'm not really, other than obviously now Watkins has a double, so it's not so much the draw, it's the draw at Stamford Bridge that gives him the replay. Yeah, that's the only thing that's affecting my transfer plans, because Watkins was on the chopping block. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, agree. Watkins was on the chopping block waiting for Haaland to come in.
Yeah.
Now he's sort of sucked me back in because he's got a double game week this week, so you might have to stay another week. Be tricky if we find out Haaland's back for this game. Like if he plays against Burnley midweek, then he's going to be available for Brentford. But it's a single game, isn't it? So, but yeah, Watkins over 2 games or Haaland over 1. Depends if he comes back all like the Tin Man, or if he's going to come back the machine, Haaland.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You don't know. It's same with De Bruyne. You just look watching him thinking, is he going to pull up? Have they given him enough time? But yeah, he's looking good, to be fair. What do you reckon,
I
Matt?
think Haaland's going to come back with a bang. I think they're just like taking their time with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit of a way in the future as the first thing. So in terms of questions earlier about how far are we planning, it's kind of, for City, it's about 7 matches from our next deadline away for that FA Cup 5th round. But basically agreed with both of you. It hasn't really changed what I'm doing. It's solidified things, really. It's just all the teams we want to be on have got decent draws. Luton away for City, Watford or Southampton home, Liverpool and Villa or Chelsea, whichever one gets through that replay, which has meant we want to go into them anyway. Argyle or Leeds, as mentioned earlier. So all got good draws.
Yeah.
Ben,
it's not touched much, has it? Go on.
Ben Coles is commented saying, got Trippier, was thinking getting VVD in for him. I think that's, if you're thinking of doing that, I think I wouldn't even consider it until game week 24.
Yeah.
When we find out if the Luton game's in there for the double game week with Brentford for Liverpool.
Yeah, you're right. Because you could have
that extra bit of context just changes all that question.
Yeah,
definitely.
But also by delaying it until then, you might have one of your other 2 defenders injured, and you're still keeping Trippier for a bit longer. Yeah,
if you've got I take it that, have you got Watkins then as well, Coles? And you were thinking about doing Watkins and Núñez. You've got them both. Just sit on them 2 this week, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely don't touch them. And then look at Núñez and VVD further down the line. Right, Wadey. I have Jota as my only pool player. Feel I need more with their fixtures for an FA Cup draw. Who else to target, barring Salah and Trent? Still think 3 isn't enough. You reckon, Ben? He's looking at loading up on Liverpool. Obviously, they've been doing well, haven't they?
Yeah, I think I've got 4 at the minute. Yeah, I've got Gomez, Trent, Núñez, and Jota. Yeah, I think Núñez, like we were just saying, is a good option. Probably could wait this week. They're playing Arsenal, aren't they? Away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arsenal away. It's the Burnley fixture next week, 23. Could be a good time to bring him in. Like I say, hopefully we get some news about Luton, and then it'll be pile on Nunez. Jota, Nunez, and obviously you just said Trent. You don't Trent and Salah if Salah's back, but we don't know yet. So yeah, I like the double up. I've got the double up in attack.
What of Nunez and Jota?
Yeah, I've got not Nunez and Jota at the moment, and I like having the both of them. I think they both got 19 points last week each.
Yeah, it's been decent, now, hasn't it? I've not had Jota because, I went Cunha, who's done all right anyway. So it's not like I've not missed out on much because he's been doing all right. Hopefully, he puts United to the sword this week. What do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, I mean Nunez, I don't have him, so I'm a bit gutted over the last few weeks. That train has really shot off. So I was looking at, because that question I was sort of thinking about earlier, is it since Salah's gone? Well, it obviously is. We can see that, and I think he's averaged 7.4 points a game compared to 5.5 from for the season. So there is that question to answer of what happens. Does he revert back to 5.5 later, which means he's not essential, but he's verging on essential at the moment. And it kind of, I'm kind of, whenever asked about XG, sort of turn off, to be honest, because I'm more interested in how many goals people actually score. But everyone's been saying, underlying statistics, XG for Nunez, he's bound to go off at some point, and he has. So maybe I'm wrong on that. The other ones, sort of Van Dijk, maybe. I've got him in, quite like him. Szoboszlai, I think he's back from injury. He'll tick along. There are more exciting options elsewhere, I think. But he's not the worst if you happen to have him. But yeah. And Jota, which is the one way he already has.
Yeah. Like I say, Salah's expected back about the 11th of Feb, I think, was it? So for the Brentford game, maybe. So they've only really got, obviously got the Arsenal single, the Burnley single, then that 24 is a double. Well, we're thinking it's a double, Brentford and Luton. So there'll be some decisions to make there with Salah being back, and obviously Nunez will be in quite a few teams by then, I expect.
And that's where this becomes a little bit, in some ways, when you talk about the planning and comparing this to the old Dream Team, we're talking about a hell of a lot of games over the next 3 game weeks, and I mentioned we've got 6 transfers as a bit of a luxury, but Salah in is going to be one of those. Haaland in is probably going to be one of those. So you're starting whistling it down to things that are already you need to pencil in. So just be a bit cautious.
It's getting the timing right of them, and so like if people put them in early, like Ben's being very proactive and getting all the big hitters back in, and that might be the way to play it completely, or you might drop lucky and be able to play around with your team for the few weeks beforehand, and then still have the transfers left to get them in, or the 12-man chip just to get you by for that first week when Haaland turns back up. Or we don't know. We don't know, do we? Salah's been out, obviously. By the time it comes around to Salah coming back in a couple of weeks, he's been out for a while. Haaland's obviously he's taking his time to get back on pitch. De Bruyne have been out for a long time. There might be injuries in the meantime as well, which could really so. If we do get a couple of injuries to, I don't know, a couple of the lesser players, the not as highly owned, obviously then people like Ben, who's been proactive, will be in a better position because they'll be able to take out these few players and still have the big hitters. Where we're then saying what can we do here? It's you don't know what's right until it's happened here. So, but we just we play our own game. Nathan Wisby, who is the better pick, Ruben Diaz or Gavardiol? I think they're both poor picks. The points say Gavardiol is the better pick. Playing at left back. They could turn. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, they could get 5 clean sheets in a row and turn into top picks, but I won't have either of them. Ben, are you going to be sticking a few defenders in?
Possibly, yeah. The City defence seems to be a bit more predictable lately.
Yeah, it does.
But Akanji's been injured, so when he comes back, it might throw a spanner in the work. When's he back? Let's have a quick look. But yeah, so he's back 5th of February, possibly. Normally, I'd say Ruben Diaz because he's nailed, but Vardio playing that left-sided defender, he's getting forward. And
you get a bit more points for that reason, because he's there. He's doing a little bit more on that side.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time before he gets his first goal. So I think I'm edging towards Vardio. What about you, Matt?
So I think for the reasons you've both said, whether it's more points on the board so far, as Tony said earlier as well, Gvardiol out of those two. But my the initial thing that I wrote down to jog my memory for this was Kyle Walker. So when I looked at this before we had the news, was, don't go there. Go to Kyle Walker. But Liverpool conceded fewer goals than Man City this season.
Yeah.
So there are options there, great options who do get some attacking returns. The only thing about City, from a defensive point of view, if you can get Pep right, is the sort of counter argument to all my thought. And I'm not going into City defence, I'm not. But the counterpoint isn't. It's not just you look at the fixture run, you go, they've got the volume, they've got as many, if not more, than everyone else. Whenever other things get rearranged, they've got some, nothing scary for them. They could do what you said, Tony, and all of a sudden have the 5 clean sheets in a row. But I'm not. Yeah. There's no one there who excites me much.
Yeah, that's the trouble. You could just go on a massive run and, do you know what I mean, end up with egg on my face if not got any of them in. But yeah. DZ Patrick, I brought in Curtis Jones as he's on form and has good fixtures, but is he a legitimate long-term hold? He has been playing really well, to be fair, and he's been popping up the back post with quite a few goals. I looked, he's on 100 and some points now, Curtis Jones. He has done well, so a cracking pick, Patrick, for this week especially. What do you reckon, Ben? Just while I go and sort these mutts out, because they're deciding to have a barking fest in there 1 second.
Yeah, I think Curtis Jones has been doing all right, hasn't he? But with Szoboszlai coming back, could be a problem for he might lose his place. But I don't see why he should lose his place, because he's been on form and he's been scoring goals. So, yeah, I'd hold him if I were you, Patrick. I wouldn't sell him.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Ben. I was actually thinking there are a couple of things that are going to affect that Liverpool side. Firstly, Szoboszlai back, who might affect the chances of Curtis Jones playing, and then you'll have a knock-on effect from Salah being back as well, with some other players juggling around, and potentially some knock-ons of them taking positions. There are some important players coming back for Liverpool, but since Salah's been away, I mean, he's another player who's been on fire. If you're looking at the kind of which Liverpool players you want beside Salah, he's had in the last 6 games, he's had 3 games. He's had he's had 2 12s and an 11 in 3 of those games. So, yeah, I think it is one to be pretty happy that you snuck in with that one under the radar, Patrick, because not many will have been talking about him at all.
Yeah.
Agree with Ben though, because Ben was saying, Tony, whilst you're out, it's a hold. It's probably not a buy, but it's a hold.
Yeah, that's where you end up, don't you? But it's not like trying to jump on him. But if you've got him, then there's no reason not to keep him at this moment in time. Until you see otherwise, like you say, if he does lose his place because the team gets restructured with salary return and other things. But yeah, for now, I were always devastated. We were after him 2 or 3 seasons ago at Rovers. We nearly had him on loan. Good player, Curtis Jones. James is back. Spurs James. What are your thoughts on Porro's ceiling now? Madison's back in the team. Good to see him back, by the way. And probably back on free kicks and corners. It's a good point. We touched on Porro earlier about he keeps scoring these big holes. He's brilliant for the matrix, brilliant for the bonus points and stuff. Madison being back in the team does take a little bit away from him. Obviously, he's attacking as it is anyway. But yeah, getting them free kicks and corners, they're, as you see with Trippier and stuff, they're big deals, aren't they? So do you think it just lowers it a little bit, Ben? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to affect his bonus as well. Not taking so many set pieces. But maybe the manager might say that Porro carries on because he's been doing so well.
Yep, it's true. With the shared duties, you never know, do you?
Yeah.
Matt?
Yeah, definitely true. I wouldn't be advising anyone to get him. I mean, if you've got a problem solver in your defence, you could move him on as a sort of interim, move him in for 2 or 3 weeks. But that would be if you've got really nothing else to do and you've got someone in defence to get rid of. But the facts speak for themselves. Man City will have, and I think Liverpool may also have. Well, in Liverpool's case, it could be an 8 for 3 over Spurs coming pretty soon. So, yeah, I've missed the bus completely on Porro. So he's been raved out across.
I missed him as well. That's 3 of us.
Yeah, and I've gone in other routes on all of them. His ceiling, just to directly answer the question, Burnley at home where he got 20 points. I don't think any of those were for assists from a free kick or for big chances created from a set piece. There were he got 5 bonus, he got 5 for a goal, he got 1 for shot on target with that, 2 for tackles and 5 points for a clean sheet. So he's still got a pretty high ceiling, but that was Burnley at home. So hold it for a couple of weeks, but he's got to go soon.
Yeah, he got that blanking game at 25 as well, haven't they?
Yeah. You don't be wanting him for that.
He probably will score well over these next 3 games, though. It's at Everton, Brighton, and Wolves, but it's just booking transfers in, like I say. It's a long season.
It is. Last question is from David87. It's a lot on the City situation. Tagging on to City selection questions. Is there a benefit of having 7, 8, or 9? I've heard some mention for the run. Not all going to play every game, or should we be sticking with nil players and other teams who have 1 or 2 less fixtures in the coming game weeks? I'm pretty sure, David, if you've been listening, you'll have heard lots of opinions across the City team having 4, 6, 9, and the benefits and the risks of having the players in that don't have as many fixtures. So I think that'll already been answered. It's been a cracking pod. I think we got through quite a lot there. Best of luck to everybody in the next couple of days before the next game week hits. Wooly, thank you very much, mate, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you on, pal.
That's all right. And I'll hopefully see you again sometime on here, but also see whoever's in Coventry as well.
Yep, definitely. You coming to the ice hockey?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Never been before, but I've always thought that would be fun.
Me neither. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Me, Ben, Scott will be there, and trying to obviously get a few more together within the Discord, which should be a good day / night. Hotels booked. Paddy's Day. Looking forward to it then.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, if anybody else is interested in coming, get in touch with us. We'll having a good meet up for have a few beers and that.
Yeah, give us a shout, let you know where we're staying and what the plan is. Obviously, I think ice hockey's on about 5:30. Is it 5:30?
Yeah, 5:30.
Yeah,
I've had a few message me about the hotels and that. Is actually
excellent.
I have to get you to tell them the details.
Yeah, not a problem. But yeah, should be good. So
what about
where we off? When we put in next week?
Monday, isn't it?
I'm on late shift next week. Might be the
Sunday or Monday, but Scott will be back from his lovely holiday next week.
Yeah, catched an holiday, didn't he?
Yeah.
I've got mine booked for May as well. Going over to Mallorca.
Lovely day. I was going to say, how's you getting on when you're running?
Oh, honestly, I did 2 miles today. I had to walk about 0.3 of a mile in between. My knees are absolutely buckling. Like, I am honestly fitter than I've ever been, ever. My chest, my heart rate doesn't even. I can run 2 miles and my heart rate even going into extreme. It's just staying like I am now. But yeah, my knees and my ankles, they just want to rest. They want to rest. I've got 2 more days, 4 more miles to do. And that'd be 62 miles I've done in January.
That's amazing.
No, yeah, keep up that good work. It's great cause as well. Where can people find you on Twitter to see where to donate?
Yeah, we do. We drop it below on YouTube into the comments. The link if you fancy supporting me for Prostate Cancer UK, and yeah, DTT_Tony. You'll see one on there. You'll see one of my posts of me sweating in the gym. But yeah, it's been a long slog, but I think I'm going to make it without injury free as well. Although I am wearing knee supports and ankle supports.
Getting on, Tony.
I'm falling to bits. But yeah, they just need a couple of days rest, 3 days rest, 4 days rest. And the next thing you know, I'll be running a marathon. But yeah, all for a good cause. Thanks to everyone that's joined us. And we will speak to you next week. Keep going. Cheerio.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.